Hi everybody, I'm James and I am here to look at an exciting new release which is 0200 Hours. This is the new game from Grey for Now Games. Previously did Test of Honor, but this time they're changing it to World War II Night Raids. And there's a lot in this starter set, so let's open up the box, take a look and see what's inside. And first up, we've got rules. It's an A5 book, full colour, which is really nice, and the layout's actually really excellent too. You can tell that the designer, Graham Davey, has roots in Games Workshop, making everything look pretty. It's 64 pages, got an index at the back, which is always a bonus. The A5-ness, not going to make everyone happy because it kind of pops back closed when you put it on the table, but that's a minor gripe. All right, there's a plastic tray thing in there. Pop that open. No, we won't. My fingers don't work. Dice. I'll get onto those in a second. And cards. So recruitment cards. These come with your different troopers for both sides, specific to the figures that you get in the game. There's a few veteran cards. These are like little modifiers that you can give to kind of create characters within your units. All right, so now we're on to the event cards. These are cards that you as a defender will play at certain points in the game to kind of scupper the attacker's attempts to stay stealthy. This one, for example, Detonation. You can use it whenever the attacker sets a demo charge, and it'll make the demo charge explode immediately, which for the person planting the charge is probably bad news. So that's quite cool, and there's various ones like that that you play throughout the course of the game. And we've got the order cards, which work similar to the event cards, but these are ones that the attacker uses. They get to pick from slightly fewer during the game. This one's quick and slow, so the first action there is it can make an advance action, but then you get a bonus free second action, which is a sneak. So that gives you extra versatility in your turn. What's this one? Hold. So this one means that you can actually pass the activation, which might be good if you don't want to do anything. Puts the onus on your defender to make their moves, lets you see what's happening. Okay, and on to requisition cards. These are kind of back to your choosing how you're going to equip your troops. Demo charges here, so that gives you some chance to set explosives. Long range weapons, and you've got the different profiles for those there. There's quite a few different cool options with those. A couple of quick reference sheets which have all the different weapon types on and the different kind of actions you can do. These symbols are the dice, so the different colours mean whether they're loud or quiet. And then finally, you've got these alarm level cards. These are actually really important in the development of gameplay. So to begin with, everything's calm. As you as an attacker make more noise, you can eventually change the alert level to suspicious. If you go quiet, you can actually flip back to go to calm again. But once you've gone past suspicious, the alarm gets raised and everything fixes at that point, and it's far more of a normal sort of game, all action going, and just lots of violence begins at that point. Okay, and I mentioned dice while I was looking at those cards. These are the dice, coming in white and grey varieties, grey for now. So these white dice are the noisy dice, which primarily would get used when you're doing noisy actions, so firing heavy weapons or like setting off explosives, things like that. The chevron sides are essentially successes. They are also used if you roll them to determine what direction defenders will move when they're on sentry patrol, so that's a nice double use. The little medal icons, they create trigger effects, which if you roll them with your troops, they'll have different trigger options. And then you've got this. Now, if you roll this, that means you've basically revealed yourself. So that will boost the alert and make you easier to attack. And then you've got the quiet dice, which are dark because everything's all in the dark. There's chevrons on these too, but there's actually less chevrons, less chance of success, more medals. And then you've got the dice result here, which allows you to actually go back into hiding, so you can go stealthy again. It's rare that you'll just roll one type or the other. You'll usually roll a combination of the dice. So there's always a chance to be discovered. There's always a chance you could stealth your way back. So going through the rules, you've got the contents page to start off, a few atmospheric pictures, and then you just get a bit of a description to set the scene, telling you about all the different things that can be gamed in the dark and attack under nighttime fighting conditions, and of course the defenders as well. You've got some notable missions, so that's stuff that can inspire you to set your own games up. Overview of gameplay, and this really gives you an idea of what the game's about. It's not your typical pitched battle. It's very much built around stealthy night fighting, defender patrols, not having as much agency at first, and then gradually as the attackers start to perform actions, the defender will get more of a clue that something bad's going on. And yeah, it's a really interesting concept that's nice to see a game built around it. Not your standard turn sequence really, because as I say, you've got defenders who have less agency, but everything's presented in a really, really nice way. You've got lots of diagrams that make things clear, different kinds of actions, all of them with the different dice that you're rolling to perform them. Then you've got the weapons, quite a condensed weapon profile, and that's a recurring theme in these rules. Everything's quite slick, everything's quite refined, a lot of rules will serve multiple purposes, and it feels like a very modern game design as opposed to some of the stuff we see in Wargaming where it'll be rehashes of old rule sets. This is something that's new from the ground up for the most part. There are obviously some similarities with Graham's previous game, Test of Honor, but the period's changed a lot, the type of warfare's changed a lot, so this really does play into that. Alarm levels again tracked on these cards, more atmospheric pictures, and then it just kind of takes you through the sequence of how a game's played, lets you follow that through, and then we get on to some missions. Once the missions are established at a basic level, you get some additional rules. Quite a lot of things here that again are very simple, but we're going to make a lot more character in your games. And then more missions, all with different defender and attacker objectives, primary and secondary. There are some really cool secondary objectives for the defenders as well. It's not all just boring stuff for them like try not to die. There's one where there's an air raid going on, you can get on an AA gun and try and take out the attacking planes to protect yourself. But yeah, a lot to take in there. More pictures, nice little quick reference section at the back, and an index. Final gameplay age, you get these counter sheets, good quality card stock, and these are just the different things you use within the game to show if you've set alerts. Little timers can be used for things like explosives, searchlights, that's one of the additional rules. You can put patrol routes down, demolitions charges, it's all pretty obvious, but these will help out as you play. And then we're on to what for some may be the most exciting stuff, which is there's quite a lot of new figures in here. First of all, bases. Normally we wouldn't spend much time looking at bases, but these are notable because they're the first time Wargames Atlantic have made bases. This is a tie-in with Wargames Atlantic. They've produced all the figure sets, and these are their new bases, which are bases, but they're also bases that have been designed to fit magnets in. If you want to magnetize your figures, can be used that way up or that way up. So it's good to get those, because otherwise your figures would fall over. And then we've got two different frames. So this is the British. Lots of stuff on there. What we'll probably do is I'll get our trusty video guy Joe to take these into the light box and do some close-ups so that we can look at some of the details. But that's the British. They're much more of an attacking force. And then you've got the German frame there, which is more of a defenders, sentries. You get 12 British altogether and 18 Germans. There's also some really, really nice guard dogs on the frame, some German shepherds, or as the Germans would call them, shepherds. And they can be added to the bases of your Germans, or you can just put them on separate bases as well. So looking at the SAS frame, you get 6 bodies on each frame, and you get a huge range of arms, equipment, different heads as well. You've got like hats, berets, helmets, and then different sets of arms. Some of them are matched, so you've got the corresponding numbers with an L and an R. Some of them are separate, and you can choose what you put with them. There's a particularly cool little demo charge set of arms that looks really good. I found that they went really well with the badass with his blade gripped between his teeth head just there. You've got radios, you've got more explosives, lots of different kit going on down here, some grenades, some very nice sort of slouchy backpacks. And then some of the weapons are more suited to stealth killing, so you've got a rifle there that's for more of a sniping purpose. You've got some silenced pistols going on as well, and various different other weapons present on the frame. Then you've got the German frame, which is less of an attacking thing, more of a on patrol, trying to see what's coming. And this, I think, is actually really exciting. I think this is going to be good for people who play other games and maybe not even interested in 0200 hours, but these are some bits that you'll be able to work into your other armies to give them character. You've got the dogs, of course. There's guard dogs there, which are very nice sculpts, really detailed, and there are hands holding leashes as well, which you can fix to the guard dogs if you want them to be on the leash. You've got a good selection of heads again. Don't go putting the dog head on your German unless you want to create some kind of pulpy nightmare. And you've got some weapons, of course, but there's also a lot of hand options that have got more sentry-based stuff. There's one holding papers here. There's a couple of flashlights. There are some weapons more at rest, just being held while the guard kind of chills out. There's a smoking hand there for that atmospheric one just before he gets jumped from behind and gets his neck snapped. Got some pointing hands, and these ones are for surrendering, so you can even have them surrendering. There's a saluting one as well, I think that's that one. Other details, you've got a few bits of kit, and then you've got some gorgets if you want to put them on your command figures. So with that done, I'll go and build some of these figures, and you can take a look at them. First of all, we've got a couple with torches. These are the Germans, so they're patrolling. Just put a bit of kit on those. Weapons at rest. And these are probably my favourite models out of the whole lot. These are the sentries with the Alsatians. I actually built one of these with what I then realised was a surrendering hand, so he looks a little bit weird. I'll probably change that once the video's done, but you know, time constraints mean I had to rush these through. But yeah, these have got leashes on them and they just look really good. Great little sculpts. And then these ones, slightly more standard, you know, you've got your officer kind of guy there, just with his binoculars and a Luger, and just a standard dude with his goggles. So on to the Brits, the SAS, you've got a radio operator here. This one actually shows a few slight problems that I found with the frame, or at least one of them, which is some of the arms don't work as well on certain bodies. His head as well, and this is true of all the heads, particularly the ones firing, so actually I'll look at one of those. Here you go, you can see the heads have flat connection points across the frames. Now that means that you can't angle the heads so that they're really looking, as they would do, down the sights of their weapons. They're a bit more straight up and kind of following the barrel, which isn't as it should be. It's a tiny little quibble, but just as everything else is so positive here, I just thought I'd mention it to provide some balance. This is one of my favourites. You've got the guy with the explosive charge, and on his back I've given him a lot of kit, I've given him some extra explosives. He's a very cool model. And then just rounding it out with a few more guys that show the different weapon options available and the different heads too. And there it is, 0200 hours. For the money, I think it's just a really good starter set. You get everything you need, you get the rules, you get the figures, there's expandability, the concepts of the game are really good and really intriguing. And if nothing else, I think what Graham Davies done is he's taken a difficult concept and really focused on translating that into a game that works really well on the tabletop, and that kind of thing should be rewarded. So what do you think? Are you excited by this new game? Is there a particular figure that you've really got your eye on, or maybe a rule that you're looking forward to playing on the tabletop? Have I missed anything out that I should have talked about if you've been playing the alpha game and you're like, James, you've not touched on this really vital element? Hopefully not, but let us know in the comments and I'll see you in the next video.
This video has been brought to you by WI Prime, Wargames Illustrated magazine's online members club. View more videos or find out more about WI Prime by following these links.